there a lot of people in your life that can't believe the Diamondbacks are here, or they start to believe more recently?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people. I think that's just kind of been the main theme of just like I can't believe it. I don't think it's necessarily because of the team, of the guys we have in that clubhouse. It's more the fact of, just as a kid, the people saw me, as a kid playing Little League, and here we are, Game 1 of the World Series about to, come up. So I think it's more of just just more in that sense of just I can't believe it. This is insane. This is surreal.
And having sort of gone through the gauntlet that is Citizens Bank Park and, your first best of 7, do you feel like that is an incredible experience to be able to carry over to something that's even bigger? Yeah,
absolutely. I think just like the last 3 months of the season, we played playoff baseball from the middle of July. We dug ourselves a pretty deep hole there, and same thing, going into Citizens Bank Park, losing the first 2. And then, had our backs against the wall. It kind of seems to be the mantra of the team. We just like to, play with our backs against the wall. But, yeah, everybody, I'm going to venture to say that's probably 95% of the guys in there. It's his first 7-game series. And, yeah, it was a crazy experience for sure.
Claudia on the right.
Yeah. Hey, Zac, your catcher, Gabriel Moreno, has been very good at and behind the plate. What is he like from your perspective?
Yeah, Gabby's 23, but I feel like he's 33. Just the way he's super cool, super calm, collected. The moment doesn't seem to faze him, and the talent is just off the charts. I've kind of had a firsthand seat to see Gabby grow. I think what I saw at the beginning of the year was there was a lot of talent for sure, and then for Gabby to kind of get over it here and get a lot more comfortable, understanding how to handle a pitching staff, calling games, and certain things like that has been, I can't really describe it. It's been fascinating to watch, and like I said, he's 23 and he's looked like he's been here for 10 years now. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Teo?
Zac, for you personally, is there anything that you're focused on, locked in on this week to get back to your kind of best self on the mound?
Yeah, obviously, I think for me, I said it after the 2 starts, is that, just lack of execution, really. So for me, I just trying to execute a little bit better and give us a chance to win, really. No secret, I feel like I didn't, help the guys that much. So, yeah, I'm looking to try and pull my weight this time around. But for me, yeah, it's really just about executing pitches. We got only a handful of games left. So, give it my all and see what happens.
And then from a team perspective, have you thought at all in the last couple of days about just the fact of where you guys were 2 years ago and getting to this point so quickly?
Yeah, I try not to think about 2 years ago. Those are some dark times in Arizona. With me, I was injured for a good part of that year, and then as a team, it didn't turn out the way we wanted to. But yeah, it's still surreal. It kind of started to hit me a little bit on the way to the ballpark today. Having the escort here, just thinking 730 days ago, whatever it was, who would have really thought we would be here right now, this soon, this quickly. So yeah, it's I'm just proud of the guys in the clubhouse, the guys that have walked through the dark times that were here, and then the young guys that have come up and just stepped up right away and kind of inserted themselves into this, success we're having. It's been it's incredible.
Nick, over here on the right.
Kind of following up on Teo's first question, did I know you threw well against Milwaukee and the Dodgers. Was it just a matter of a tough lineup that wasn't missing mistakes? Did you feel like there were specific things you need to get back?
Yeah, I think it was more so I felt good against Milwaukee and LA, but like you said, it's a really good lineup, and they didn't seem to miss mistakes. I'm somebody who attacks the strike zone, and I think going into it, they knew that, and they got pitches to handle, and then so just with teams like that, teams are really good. You got to try and stay out of the middle of the plate, and almost be a step ahead in terms of sequencing and stuff like that. So yeah, for me, it was, misexecution, but, sometimes you're out there and you throw a ball right down the middle and you get a pop-up or a ground ball. It didn't seem to be the case when, guys like Schwarber or Harper came up.
I guess you're still going to have your work cut out for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, this isn't going to be any easier of a task, honestly. This is a really good lineup. This is a team we've seen, I think, 4 times this year, 4 or 5 times. I don't know how many times we play them, but yeah, I mean, it's a really good lineup. We didn't get a chance to see Evan Carter earlier in the year, so that's another fold that they added into the mix. They're playing hot too, so it's not going to be an easy task by any means.
Ron on the left.
Do you think the guys in the clubhouse take inspiration from all the people you hear on the air doubting you?
Yeah, I would say so. I think if you compete, if you're in any sort of competitive field and somebody tells you can't do something, or they think somebody can do it better than you, I think that's kind of a main reason probably why you're where you are today. So yeah, I think for us, it's not necessarily that. I don't know. I'm speaking from me, but I don't think it was necessarily that people thought that we couldn't do it. It was just that no one expected us to be here, and it was like, we're here. We might as well just see what happens. Let's just, and then I mean, you find little things along the way that kind of just fire you up and just motivate you really. And we just got guys in there with quiet confidence of like, all right, we'll just prove you wrong. Let's just see what happens. We know what we can do. We had a really good first half, and it's like we know it's in there. So let's just see what happens.
What sparked you to tweet the Phillies spring training tickets being on sale?
Yeah, I mean, this will be the only time I'm gonna address that. But for me, that was just growing up in that area and knowing how the Philly fans operate. I don't know. There was a lot of mentions of people in my DMs and stuff like that. So I figured, they were talking junk. So I just figured if they want to, talk junk to me, I'll say one back. And I feel like being from there, I knew how to hit them the hardest. So that was my thought. But yeah, that's the end of that. This is a new thing. That's over with. It's Thursday, day before the World Series. So moving on.
Hannah.
Hey, Zach. I feel bad because you said you didn't want to go back to 2021, but I'm just curious if there's anything you can learn from being a team that loses 100 games that's valuable when you're then winning.
Yeah, ultimately, I think it comes down to just not wanting to experience that again is really what it comes down to. I watched the Derek Jeter documentary, I guess it was this offseason, and I remember he talked about when they lost the World Series, I think in '95 maybe, and he said, I remember getting, or whenever they lost in the playoffs or whatever it was, just like I remember getting there and not wanting to feel that ever again. And I think if you ask a lot of guys that were here in 21, even 20 and 19, I mean, those years, 22 didn't end the way we wanted it to. And I think just if you ask a lot of guys, just like you don't want to feel that feeling again. It's losing 110 games. It's not fun coming to the baseball field. And it's supposed to be fun. I mean, it's a game. So I think when your job becomes a job and it's like, oh, we're just monotonous and we're coming to the field, I think that's a huge motivating factor. I think for myself, and I think you'd find a similar answer for a lot of guys in there.
Was there a moment this year where you realized you were having more fun?
Absolutely. I said last year I was having fun coming to the field. Even the start of 22 was like, okay, we weren't playing great, but the guys in the clubhouse, there was just a different feel. And then you get that just the young guys started to trickle in, and they're super close because they've played in the minor leagues together. And there's guys here like myself, Walker, Merrill, like Josh Rojas, like guys that were here just wanted to hang out with those guys. And then we just became super closer and just wanted to do things together. And then this year it was like everyone was pulling for each other. So yeah, it was just it was a lot more enjoyable to come to the field and spend time with those guys. And then you just try and go out and win baseball games on top of it.
Do you guys hang out more away from the ballpark when you're winning?
I mean, I don't know if it's different. I think I would venture to say that you probably hang out more away from the field when you're losing, because you're like, nobody wants to hang at the field. It's like, it's just like terrible when you come to the field. But yeah, I mean, I think guys just hang out and they have their things that they do, and I think it's just guys just are super close when they come to the field and they want to hang out and they you want to do whatever, like just play cards or eat and talk junk, whatever. Like it's just
I wanted to ask you about how you got to the Diamondbacks. Obviously, it was an interesting trade with a hyped prospect at the time for you. And the team, ever since you've been there, despite some of the struggles, has never done the rebuild thing. They never tore it down. They kept making kind of moves aimed at winning, and it's kind of come together now. I'm curious what your perspective was when you got there, of what you felt like your role was and how you've seen it evolve as more guys like you have come in.
Yeah, it was kind of odd, honestly. So, I was in Miami, and I think we were on pace to lose 100 games at that time. I was just happy to be in the big leagues, really. I felt like I was having a really good year in AAA, so I was just happy to get up and finally get to the big leagues and want to be there. And then I get called in the office on July 31st, and it's like, all right, you're going to Arizona. I'm like, we just played them. I don't really know anything about them. I had no idea that they were in the race for the wild card. So I get over to Arizona in 19, and I think I'm still just trying to stay in the big leagues. I'm not really concerned that they're in the playoffs and things like that. So I think it was almost good that I was not necessarily ignorant, but just I had no idea what's going on, added more pressure on myself. And then 20 hits, obviously, with the COVID year, and 21. And 20 was a year where the front office went out and added pieces. I mean, we go out and get Bum, we go out and get Starling Marte and Cole Calhoun and guys like that, and it didn't really work out. So I was encouraged that, all right, we're trying to make a run at this thing. Let's just see what happens. And then 21 doesn't work out with injuries and whatnot. And then 22, to kind of have Hayes and Fitz and Amiel be like, we're not going into a full rebuild. We're going to just try and reload this thing and shift the mindset a little bit. And he was like, you're going to have to be a little patient, but we're not doing that. So for me, that was super encouraging. Just knowing that I would be, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, just a little bit ahead of the timeline of the guys that were coming up. Yeah, I mean, but the plan has worked out great. I had told the story in Milwaukee of playing Bobby Witt and some young guys. I'm like, where's our guy at? And they told me be patient. And speaking to Corbin Carroll, and yeah, he's been unbelievable.
Take one last one before Tori comes in. Tyler in the back.
Yeah, Zach, the late game bullpen that you guys have shown lately has been awesome. What makes the Thompson, Ginkel, Seawald combo so effective for you guys?
Yeah, I think that, ultimately those guys are fearless, really. I think you have a lot of, the three of those guys are pretty, I don't know, traveled's not necessarily the word I'm looking for, but in the sense of they've had their adversity as well. You talk about Ryan Thompson gets DFA'd in the middle of this year, and we pick him up. So he's had adversity. So coming in the game, I imagine he's unfazed by that. He's fearless. You have Kevin Ginkel, who comes up in 2019 and is looking like maybe the next closer of the Arizona Diamondbacks coming into 2020. And he struggles in 20 and has some struggles in 21, and even in 23 he's down in Reno. Maybe not necessarily deserving, but just he was the odd man out in terms of numbers. So another guy that has adversity and comes in and is fearless and has kind of found what he's done really well. And then you have Paul Seawald he gets traded by a playoff contender. And I know Paul had spent some time in New York before, and it was just I think you see these guys with adversity that coming into a game with runners on base in a big spot in the season, they've had some legit life adversity that trying to get outs in a baseball game to them is all right, whatever. I'm gonna make pitches. I know what I do well. I'm pulling for the guys behind me. I know are pulling for me. I'm pulling for them. So yeah, let's just see what happens and make pitches. And like I said earlier, Paul coming in and having that ninth inning, I think really stabilized everyone else in their role in the sense of, all right, Ginkel's not sure where he's going to throw the eighth or the ninth. It's no, you're the eighth inning. When this thing gets to the eighth inning, we're winning, you're going to be pitching in the game. So I think just mentally, I can't speak too much about the mental side down there in the bullpen, but I just know that having a routine and knowing when you're going to go in the game makes your job a lot easier for sure.
All right, thanks a lot, Zach. We'll see you tomorrow.